So I would say the exiliarchs, they were a recognized civil head over Babylonian Jewish population. And remind you, Sura and Pamdita academies, these are both academies, Sura Academy and Pamdita Academy, were both in Iraq, in that Babylonian Jewish, where the Talmud came from, the Babylonian Talmud. The caliphs also were tax intermediaries between Muslims and Jewish populations. But it was also a quasi-royal figure that claimed Davidic lineage, and it was a known belief that during the time of the exiliarchs, they would act as like a pre-Messiah, who is given the name Mahmad, taken from Song of Solomon, as well as that one part in Ezekiel where God tells Ezekiel that his wife is going to die. He's part of the remnant that is sitting by a canal in modern-day Iraq, in Babylon. So a lot of this has just deep roots in exile literature, exile culture, all of this. And this is where the rabbinic Jewish authority tradition begins, right after the fall of the exiliarchs, and how it begins mainstream, known as, they were the Geonim, or like the judges. They moved into a time of being judges. But after they were scattered out of Babylon again, they moved westward towards Spain and Europe. And the movie The Physician actually captures this very well because it's during that time frame, and it's one of my favorite movies. But again, the academies of Sura and Pamdita occur around the same time as Ibn Sina. Mainly, Ibn Sina is around in and around Iran, but also in Bukhara, which is in Uzbekistan. But we see that Sura and Pamdita are rabbinic schools of thought. Ibn Sina is an Islamic teacher. But all of these academies share the same teachers and they flow through these same channels of academia because of their study of the Talmud, which in full, the name is the Babylonian Talmud. Also, Caliph comes from the word Khalifa in Syriac, which means successor or replacer. What we're looking at here is a major mixture of cultures to the point where it's just mass confusion in my regard. And it's easy for messianic heresies or even heresies altogether just to come up. And especially with the study of the Talmud and everybody's disagreeing on who the Messiah is and stuff. It's very interesting to me, I just think. And I throw this last theory out there. I had already offered in a couple of the other videos that perhaps Muhammad did not exist, which others have talked about before. It's actually an honorific term that was supposed to be fulfilled in every generation. So it's just an ongoing, like, apocalyptic cult as well. That's why it's a conundrum for many in academia, because the target keeps moving. But my final conclusion is that if all of that is true, could the Quran actually just be a collection of commentaries or other, quote, pseudo-Talmuds that didn't make it into the Talmud? The one reason I think that is because the name Surah, which is the name of a major rabbinical school of thought in Babylon during that time of Ibn Sina, is operational. And Surah is supposed to mean chapter in the Quran. Maybe it's a coincidence that these chapters are called surahs, and there's just so happens to be a academic rabbinical school of thought around the time of Babylon, where the Babylonian Talmud was formed, as well as Bukhara, which is in Uzbekistan. That is the name of a surah, supposedly the second and the first and or longest, I believe longest. I could be wrong about that. Surah in the Quran. So very interesting stuff. I'm still piecing stuff together. I am trying to write more of a cohesive work on this. But, there are more people way more versed and way more educated in these things than I am. So it comes to no surprise that these are just random collective thoughts, as well as just a minority view on the origins of Islam.